But then she goes to bed at 8 o'clock, and then sometimes I do too. And that's what I choose to do with my me time.
So I've gotten some questions from like my friends as to, are you going to travel as much as you can? Because after the baby's here, it's gonna end. And how do you maintain a social life or like continue to travel and not think that those things are all just done?
When the baby first gets here, true, it's all about the baby. But I mean, starting when Amelia was just a couple months old, I would make sure that if friends were getting together, that I would just bring her to their house. Or, I mean, when they're that young, you can bring them out to restaurants and like you can do pretty much what you would do. You just some different accommodations and stuff. And then as she got older, I just made it pretty clear to my family, who I'm lucky is really supportive, that, you know, I need to go out. I need a break for myself. And, you know, whether you want to use that time to go crazy clubbing or if you want to go just like walk around Target in peace, just getting time away from your kid is really beneficial for both of you. So I did that a lot. In terms of traveling, my parents always traveled without me and my little brother. So to me, that was kind of normal. And my first big trip away from her, she was 2, and I went to another country for about a week and a half. And it was really nice to just spend time with friends, kind of being me in my favorite city. And I think it's just really, really important.
So if you're not traveling or unable to do all of that, like how do you prioritize yourself and your interests day to day?
Well, she goes to bed a lot earlier than I do. So I pretty much figure from the time that I pick her up from school until she goes to bed is like me and her time, where we cook dinner, we hang out together, we play. But then she goes to bed at 8 o'clock, and then sometimes I do too. And that's what I choose to do with my me time because I'm tired. But sometimes, you know, my boyfriend will come over, or I will take a bath, or I will do a really long skincare routine or something like that, where it's just like, this is just me, something that she would not enjoy. And so I really make sure to have that time to myself. Sometimes in the morning, I'll wake up before she does, and then I can have like a cup of coffee or just sit there on my phone uninterrupted without her asking to watch Netflix or something. You can find like little moments in the day-to-day where it's just you. But I think it's really important when you do have those opportunities that you don't think, well, I've got laundry to do, I've got dishes to do, I've got to, you know, make this meal plan or go grocery shopping or whatever. I mean, all of that stuff can wait, but you getting time to yourself in a very busy schedule is kind of limited. So I would advise you to take it.
Yeah. So how often do you like go out without Amelia, maybe for dinner or, you know, a night out?
It's different for me being a single mom because she goes to see her dad. But even, you know, if there are things that I want to do when I do have her, whether it's a dinner with friends who are in town or a concert or whatever, I just make sure that I know I also have to pay for a babysitter, and I just build that into the cost. I see it coming, and it's important for me to go out. And it's really nice to be able to have like a stable of people who, if I say, hey, can you watch her for a couple hours, they're happy to do it. And she's been with them and they've been watching her whole life so that she's comfortable, and it's not like I'm abandoning her. Like, you still can go out. It's just going to take a little bit more accommodations. It's going to be a little bit more expensive, but ultimately it's important for you and, you know, for your partner or you and your relationships with your friends. And it's important for them to see that, you know, you're not just a mom. Like, we were people before we became moms, and it's really important to maintain those relationships like apart from them.
So how do you incorporate Amelia into your social life? I know you kind of mentioned it a little bit, but elaborate on that.
I pretty much just brought her around. I think I've got friends who, you know, say, oh, I've gotten my kid, or, you know, oh, I can't bring the baby out or whatever. And I'm just like, why not? Like, it's fine. And I was very lucky that I had friends who would be accommodating to that. So if we were gonna go out or something, they would be like, okay, well, we're not gonna meet at a place that's a bar that happens to have food. We'll go like to a restaurant and stuff. Just kind of getting the message across early on that you're a package deal. Yeah. But I think it's also important for you to be considerate of people. I mean, if they're going somewhere where it's not really a kid-friendly establishment, like, don't try and like shoehorn that in. Say, oh, you know, I'm gonna sit this one out. But generally people I think are really understanding as long as you're willing to do the work and make sure that your kid is well behaved and is not going to be like a hellion running around a restaurant or something or tearing up their house. I've never had a problem with it, and everyone is surprisingly really chill. But I think it's really good for her too. I mean, she has always been really articulate, and I think part of that might have to be with being around adults like her whole life. And she's intelligent. She knows, the back and forth of a conversation. She picked that up really early. And then she also learned how to like act in social settings. So taking her to a restaurant really was never a huge issue for me. Some people say, oh, we haven't gone to a restaurant in years and my kid is too crazy. And I guess since we did it all the time, she just got very used to this is how this is how you act in situations, and no, you can't run around, and no, you can't scream. And either I got really lucky, or just being exposed to all of these people and all these experiences and places that some kids don't really, I think was really good for her. Good for me because I got to see my friends, and I think it was good for her to see that I have friends.
So when you do need like help and support, where do you usually turn?
Kind of depends on what the issue is. If it's something that's like pretty immediate, I just text my mom. I've got some really good friends who, even though they don't have kids, they're just really good friends to me. And I will say, like, having a kid and not wanting to isolate yourself, you're going to learn really quickly who you can lean on. Even if they don't totally get what you're going through, a good friend is going to say, hey, I don't get this, but I can tell that you're struggling. So like, what can I do? So having been able to find those friends throughout the years has been really helpful. I also was really lucky to join an online moms group. It started on the bump. We moved to Facebook, and now we've all been in this group for like 7 years. And I can say, hey, this is going on. How would you handle it? And just get a lot of really good advice. So it's nice to have people like your family or something, someone who really knows you, get friends, even if they're new, who will at least try to be there for you, even if they don't really understand. And then I really cannot discount the importance of like online friend groups, because when you're awake at 3 a.m. with a screaming baby, you can be guaranteed there's someone on the other side of the world who's awake too.